backside nose pick is a pretty intimidating trick to learn at first because it involves coming in off the nose and clearing that back truck. And this is probably the first trick you'll learn that works out that way. So the thing I suggest is learning how to land it first. Because if you make a mistake when you get into it, you can always sort of hop over and get yourself in position and try to land it anyway. And just to save some time, I think it works out best to try to land the trick first. So what you do is you just stand up on the deck, set your board up, then just stand on it. And the way to set your board up is like this, hanging off the toe side as much as possible. So the way I have it is I have my heel side wheel up against the coping, then I have most of my weight on my heel, so the board's sort of hanging off like that. And the way you land this trick is you start to lean forward and you put your weight on your toe. And when that happens, you start to pivot and the wheel will just pop right out. And then you have to sort of keep leaning forward until the back truck's clear. The back truck clears, and then you try to roll away like that. Now, the hard part is just committing to it, because when you're doing a nose manual down a ramp, you always kind of want to bail out. But the trick is to just hold it longer than you think you'll need to. So drop in and just nose manual, and just set it down once you know you're safe. The thing is, when I learned this trick, I didn't once hang up on the coping. The only thing I ever had trouble with was getting this wheel to pop off. And that's really not a big deal. The main problem with that is not being set upright. But if this wheel is just on this side of the coping, like right there, and you lean forward and you put weight on your toe, you should have no problem getting that to pop off. And to get used to the feeling of dropping in nose heavy, what you can do is you can just go with less speed and just do a little backside nose pivot right there. You know, don't touch the coping or anything, just go up. And if your ramp is plywood like mine, you can get up here and sort of stall out for a second. If it's skate light or masonite or whatever, this is just going to slide right down. But if it's plywood, you can sort of gently ease it in, and then you'll start going, and you'll get the feel of how it works out. Now, the thing is to just commit and go for it. It's like that with a lot of ramp stuff. There's no simple cheater way to get used to it. You've just got to go for it. But there's really not much to be scared of. Just try to find a smaller ramp like this one, and it's going to hurt a lot more if you bail out. Okay, so now that you can land it, what you want to do is try to get into this position. And the main problem with that is if you just casually go up to do a nose pick, you'll probably land like this, where you're completely up, you know, as far over the deck as you can. And the reason I suggested learning how to land it first is because if you get into this position, you can just sort of scoot forward and then land it anyway. That way you still get practice landing it even though you can't quite get into it right yet. But the way I work this trick is I set up with my foot right here on the nose, and right when I feel this wheel pop over, that's when I start to shift my weight back. So sometimes I'll accidentally land like this, and then I've got to bail out. So it's kind of tough to get right there and then get in. You know, it's possible to land where you're a little further back, you know, like halfway on. But when you're first learning it, if you land like this, just scoot forward. And then you keep practicing, and eventually you'll get locked in like this. And if you decide that you want to learn how to get in first, something you can do if you're scared to try to drop in at first is to go up into the nose pick and then just keep pivoting and drop it into a back disaster and just pull it in like that. I actually learned that long before normal nose picks. It's a lot easier, and it helps you get used to the feeling of shifting your weight onto your front foot like that. So keep practicing and don't be afraid to go for it, and you should be alright.